Hello friends, we will see how to find out material variances and labor variances in standard costing in this video. So we'll go and take one problem on material variances. The standard mix of product A2 is as under 45 kg, 25 kg, 30 kg of X, Y, and Z. And the standard rates are 6, 4 rupees 50 paisa and 9 rupees 50 paisa. The standard loss in production is 10%. So if your input is 100 kg, 10 kg will be the normal wastage. And then you will be able to get your actual output will be 90 kg. That's what this means. If your input is 100 kg, 10 kg will go as wastage and your actual output, actual yield will be 90 kg. There is no scrap value. That means the 10 kg, which is your normal loss, it will not yield any benefit. You won't be able to realize anything from this scrap. Actual production for the month was 7,425 kg of A2. This is your actual production in one particular period. Actual consumption of material X, Y, and Z for the month given to you 4,200 kg of X, 1,700 kg of Y, and 2,600 kg of Z. And the prices are also given to you 6 rupees 50 paisa for X, 4 rupees 25 paisa per kg for Y, and 9 rupees 75 paisa per kg for Z. You are required to calculate the material variances and reconcile the same. So how do we work out this sum? We will see now calculation of material variances. So the first one, what we will do, we will find out uh, M1. M1 means what? It is the actual cost of actual material used. Actual cost of actual material used. So you take the actual rate into the actual quantity. Actual quantity into actual rate will give you the actual cost of actual material used. So what I'm going to do to in this particular month, in this particular month, you have used 45 kg of X, not 45, 4,200. 4,200 kg of X, 1,700 kg of Y, and 2,600 kg of Z. This is your actual consumption. This is what is the actual quantity used, X, Y, and Z. What is the actual rate? Actual rate is per kg of material X, it is 6 rupees 50. Y, it is 4 rupees 25, and Z, it is 9 rupees 75. So if you want to find out what is the total cost of material X used for the production, it is 4,200 into 6 rupees 50 paisa, you get 27,300. If you want to find out what is Y, it is 1,700 into 4.25, you get 7,225. And 2,600 units kg of Z you have used. Per kg, it is 9.75, so 25,350. So find the total is it is 59,875. So actual cost of actual material used, actual cost of actual material used is 59,875. Now, what is the second one? Second one is to calculate what is the standard cost of actual material use. So this is the actual quantity into the actual rate. Now you take the actual quantity, multiply this by the standard rate. So what is the standard rate? You see in the question, standard rates are given to you. So for material X, per kg, you are supposed to pay 6 rupees. That is a standard rate fixed. For Y, it is 4 rupees 50 paisa, and Z, it is 9 rupees 50 paisa. So what do we do here? It is the actual quantity that you have used. Multiply it by the standard rate, which is 6 for X, 4 rupees 50 paisa for Y, and 9 rupees 50 paisa for Z. So we have found out what is M2. M2 is the standard cost of actual material used. So the formula is AQ, means actual quantity into the standard rate. So M1 is actual quantity into actual rate. M2 is actual quantity into standard rate. Now the third one is M3, standard cost of actual material used if it had been in standard proportion. Now, what does this mean? This means that if your input, what is the total kg? So total kg is 100 kg. 100 kg of the total quantity of X, Y, and Z that is introduced is 100. Out of 100, 45 should be material X. That means 45 over 100 into 100% will give you what is the standard mix. In other words, it is 45% of your input should be material X. And what about material Y? It should be 25%. What is material Z? It is 30%. So how do you find out the mix? It is 45 out of 100. 45 out of 100 means it's 45%. 25 out of 100 means 25%. 30 out of 100 means 30%. So this is the standard mix. Had you adhered to the standard, okay, so your input is total input is 8,500. Had you adhered to the standard mix, okay, so if you're adhered to the standard mix, because standard mix means X should have been 45%, Y should have been 25%, and Z should have been 30%. So had you followed the standard mix, that is 8,500 into 45%. So in that case, had you followed the standard mix, 3,825 kg should have been of material X. And what about Y? It is 8,500 into 25%. And then the last one, 8,500 into 30%. So if you add it up, you get 8,500. Had you followed the standard mix, what is specified in the question? So if your input is 100 kg, 45% should have been of X, 25% should be Y, and 30% should be Z. So had you maintained that, then what is the rate? So the standard mix into the standard rate will give you what is the standard cost of actual material used. Standard cost of actual material used if it had been in standard proportion. Had you adhered to the standard mix, your cost would have been 56,737.50. And the last one is M4. How do you find M4? Now find out what is the standard that's given to you. So if your input is 100 kg, 45 will be material X, 45 kg will be material X, 25 kg will be material Y, and 30 kg will be material Z. And the rates are, the standard rates are 6, 4 rupees 50 paisa and 9 rupees 50 paisa. So this would be your input and this would be your cost. Now, please pay attention. Out of the 100 kg of material that you have introduced, the question says that the standard loss in production is 10%. So there will be a standard loss. That means a 10 kg will go as wastage. This is normal. So your standard output, what is your standard output? Your standard output would be 90 kg. So since it is the normal loss and the normal loss is not realizing anything, so for the computation purpose, what you will say for 90 kg of finished goods, 90 kg of output, you know, the standard rate is 667.50. Standard output. So if you want to produce 90 kg, okay, the standard cost is 667.50. But now what you have to find out is what is your actual production in this particular period. Actual production is 7,425. So 90 kg, it is 667.50 means 7,000, how much? 7,425 kg, how much? You have to find out. So what do you do now? How do we calculate? The calculation will be like this. How do we calculate it? It is 667.50. Divide this by 90. You will get what is the standard cost of producing 1 kg of output. So since you are produced 7,425 kg, so for the actual output, what is the standard cost? Remember, it is 667.50 is the cost of 90 kg. For 7,425 kg, how much? So what do we do? You have to multiply it. It is 667.5. Divide this by 90, multiplied by 7,425, you will get 55,068.75. Now we will compute what are the variances. So first one is material price variance. How do you find material price variance? The formula is M1 minus M2. So what is M1 here? M1 is 59,875 minus. Find out what is M2. M2 is 57,550. So you get 2,325. This is adverse. If it is positive, when you're doing this, when M1 minus M2, if it is positive, it is adverse. If it is negative, it is favorable. Now, see, for example, how do you determine? See, actual cost that you have, amount that you have incurred is 59,875. Had you for maintained the standard rate, the cost would have reduced. So the standard cost and the actual cost, when you compare, actual cost is more than the standard. That means it is adverse. Okay. So if you, when you do M1 minus M2, if it is positive, it is adverse. If it is negative, you have to take it as favorable. So the second one is M2 minus M3. So M2 minus M3, you get 81,250. 812.50. So this is material mix variance. Now, what is the next one? Material yield variance is M3 minus M4. M4, you have to take this. This is M4. So it is 1,668.75. And what is material usage variance? Usage variance is M2 minus M4. So M2 minus M4, you get 2,481.25. That is material usage variance. And what is cost variance? Cost variance is M1 minus M4. M1 minus M4 will give you the cost variance. So 4806.25 adverse, all are adverse. Now you have to reconcile these variances. How do you reconcile? The formula is material usage variance should be equal to mix variance plus the yield variance. So if you add the mix variance and the yield variance, so if you add these two, it should be equal to the usage variance, that is 2,481.25. Similarly, the cost variance should be equal to the price variance plus the usage variance. So if this plus this, when you add it up, it should be equal to the cost variance. So this is how you will compute the material price variances and you will reconcile them. So moving on to labor variance. So we will take one question on labor variance. Yeah, we will take this question, question number 9. The standard labor component and the actual labor component engaged during the month are given below. Skilled, semi-skilled, and unskilled workers. they have given you the standard number of workers in a group. In a gang, the standard, what is specified is 30 plus 10 plus 10. So 30 plus 10 plus 10 means 50. 50 should be the number of members in the gang. That is what is specified as standard. And the rate that you have to pay per hour is, for skilled it is 5, semi-skilled it is 3, unskilled it's 2. So these two are standard. Now, what is the actual number of workers engaged? If you add them, 24 plus 15 plus 12, you will get 51. 51 is the actual number of workers engaged in one particular group, and these are the actual rates paid. For skilled, it is 6, 2 rupees 50 for unskilled, and semi-skilled, it's 2 rupees 50, and unskilled, it's 2. Now, during the month of 200 working hours, which included 15 hours when no production was possible due to machine breakdown. So this is will be idle time. Because of the machine breakdown, they did not work for you, but you have to pay them because it is because of your default. So which included 15 hours when no production was possible due to machine breakdown. So this is actually idle time. Because the machine broke down, they could not engage in actual production, but still you have to pay for 15 hours. Okay, the group produced 9,600 units. So this is the actual production. Actual production is given to you. Standard output of the gang is 50 units per hour. So what is the standard? Standard is actually 50 units per hour. If they work for 1 hour, they are supposed to produce 50 units. But in this, they have produced 9,600 units. So how do we solve this? We will see now. So in the same manner, how you did labor variance, material variances, in the same fashion, we will also be doing the labor variances. So the first one is, there it was actual cost of actual material used. So here also the same thing, actual payment to workers. Here you say you're paying the workers, so actual payment to workers for the actual hours worked. So actual hours into actual rate. So there are the mixes, skilled, semi-skilled, and unskilled. Number of workers we will take, hours worked we will take, and the rate per hour, you get the total amount. So how many workers, skilled workers, how many unskilled workers, how many, it is given in the question. So we will be taking from the question. What is it? Skilled workers 24, semi-skilled 15, and unskilled 12. Unskilled 12. So 24, 15, and 12. So we will write here, we will write that is 24, 15, and 12. So this is in a group. The group consisted of, the gang consisted of 24 skilled workers, 15 semi-skilled, and 12 unskilled. So that is what I have written. How many hours did they work? Actual hours work during the month 200 working hours. Therefore, I will be writing here 200 working hours. So everywhere. So skilled workers work for 200 hours, semi-skilled also 200 hours, unskilled also 200 hours. Now the rate per hour. Per hour, if they work, what is the actual rate? Actual rate is 6, 2.5, and 2. So I will fill it here. Actual rate is 6, 2.5, and 2. So 24 into 200 into 6, you will get the total payment. 24 workers are there. They are working for 200 hours. So 24 into 200 will give you the total number of hours. That multiplied by 6 will give you the total payment to skilled workers. Similarly, semi-skilled and unskilled. So the total payment to the gang, okay, is 41,100. Now the next one is standard cost of actual hours worked. So what we have to do, these two will be the same here. Only thing is, Instead of taking the actual rate, you will take the standard rate because actual R into standard rate. So what is the standard rate? If you see, it's 5, 3, and 2. 5, 3, and 2 are the standard rate. So I'll write here 5, 3, and 2. So when you do this, you will get 37,800. So remember, the gang consisted of 51 workers. Okay, and the mix is 24 skilled, 15 semi-skilled, and 12 unskilled. And the hours worked and into standard rate, you do 37,800. Now, had you adhered to the standard, what is the standard mix? If the gang is 50 workers, 30 should be skilled, 10 should be semi-skilled, and 10 should be unskilled. Had you maintained this standard, do you understand standard mix? Had you maintained the standard mix, then what would have been your cost? Do you understand? So the input, the number of workers is 51. So what is the standard mix? How do you find out? 30 out of 50 into 100, in other words, will give you in percentage, or you can straight away write if you want to find out, multiply this by 51. If the total workers 51, what should be this? So 30 out of 50, that is the mix. If the input, if the number of workers, total number of workers is 50, 30 should be skilled. So that is the mix specified in the standard. So since your input is 51, what should be skilled? You're getting it in decimal. You have to consider the decimal. Do you understand? You may ask me, how come skilled workers, how can you have 30.6 workers? You can't have in decimals. But this is only the calculation of the mix. You have to consider this decimal. So the semi-skilled, how do you do? It will be 10 out of 50. So 10 out of 50 into 51. So 10 out of 50 into 51 will give you what is the standard mix. See here, they say that if the total workers is 50, 30 should be skilled, 10 should be semi-skilled, and 10 should be unskilled. So it is 10 over 50 is the mix, standard mix. Here it will be 10 over 50 into 51. Again, you will get 10.2. So when you add these three, you must get 51. And the number of hours worked and the standard rate is the same. So copy here and multiply. You will get 40,800. So what did I do? I have considered here the standard mix. So the total number of workers is 51. Had it been in the standard mix, then what is the rate? So we calculated it is 40,800. Now the next one is a standard cost of actual hours utilized. Now this is one extra step that you do when you compare the labor variance with the material variance. In the material variance, you don't have this. So here this arises because of the idle time, because the workers have worked for uh, they have we are paying for 200 hours, 200 working hours, but out of 215 hours they were idle because of machine breakdown. So what is the effective hours that they have worked? Do you understand? In other words, hours, labor hours utilized. So what we will do is you have to take the same thing here. Table 3 and L3 and L4 is almost the same. The only difference that you will observe here is, now instead of 200, you will say 200 minus 15. Why? Because 15 hours they did not work. 15 hours they did not work. So hours utilized is 185. So this you have to copy it. So it will be 30.6 into 185 into 5. You'll get the 28,305. So if you multiply and add it up, you get 37,740. So this is standard cost of actual labor hours utilized is 37,740. Now the last one, standard cost of actual output. standard cost of actual output. So what do we do? You find out what is the standard. So you're taking the standard. Standard is what? 30, 10, and 10. So a group will consist of 30, 10, and 10. This is the standard. Out of 50, 30 will be skilled, 10 will be semi-skilled, and 10 will be unskilled. How many hours they are working to make 50 units? If they work for 1 hour, they will produce 50 units. So I am going to take 1 hour here. If they work for 1 hour, if they work for 1 hour, what will be the rate? What is the standard rate? Standard rate, it is 5, 3, and 2. 5, 3, and 2 are the standard rate per hour. So 30 into 1 into 5, you get 150. 10 into 1 into 3 will give you 30. 10 into 1 into 2, you get 20. Add it up, you get 200. Now, please pay attention. Now, 200 is your standard cost of producing 50 units, because in 1 hour, because you worked for 1 hour, see here, 1 hour only we have taken. For 1 hour, if they work, if this gang works, you will have to pay the gang 200 rupees in total. And how many units they would have produced? They would have produced 50 units. So 200 is the cost of producing 50 units. Therefore, 1 unit, if you want to find out, what do? 200 divided by 50. Now, how many units have you actually produced? What is your actual production? Actual production is 9,600. So if you multiply this by 9,600, you will get what is the standard cost of 9,600 units. So what did we do now? If for 50 units in this, if this gang works for 1 hour, do you understand the rate that the wages that you have to pay? The standard wages is 200 rupees, but you will have, they would have produced 50 units. So per unit, how much means 200 divided by 50, and that into 9,600 will give you the standard cost of actual output. So this is L5. After computing L1, L2, L3, L4, and L5, now we have to compute the labor rate variances. So what is labor rate variance? L1 minus L2. L1 minus L2. See if it is positive, it is adverse. If it is negative, it is favorable. So this is positive. So I'll write here 3,300 adverse. Second one, I'll do L2 minus L3. This is L2 minus L3. If I subtract, I get minus figure. That means it is favorable, 3,000 favorable. Then I will compute what is L3 minus L4. L3 minus L4. I get 3,060 positive, therefore adverse, it is 3,060. Next one, again, yield variance, that is L4 minus L5. So L4 is this, minus L5 is 38,400. I get negative, therefore it is 660 favorable. Next, again, efficiency variance is L2 minus L. No, L2 minus L5. L2 minus L5 is again 600 negatives. That means it's favorable. And the last one, L1 minus L5. So L1 minus L5, you get 2,700 adverse. So you compute it. If it is negative, write favorable. Positive, you write adverse. So we have computed all these, and then you do the reconciliation. Labor cost variance should be equal to rate variance plus efficiency variance. Labor efficiency variance is equal to mix variance plus idle time variance plus yield variance. So this is how you will reconcile. Reconciliation, labor cost variance is equal to labor rate variance plus labor efficiency variance. Labor efficiency variance is equal to mix variance plus idle time variance plus yield variance. I hope you have understood how to compute labor variances and material variances. Thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you have understood material cost variances and labor variances. Thank you. Have a great day.